My name is Jordan Littler. I'm the creative director at 3STORIES. A sense of place to me as a designer is having something as a starting point or a jumping off point for a concept. I think when we're telling a story on a project, as you have this sort of nugget as an idea at the start and you run with that, it always develops and changes. And then as you get further down the project and you're kind of talking about it, you can always pull back to that idea of where it came from. As it could be something within the history of a project or anything really.
My name is Ben Webb. I'm Managing Director at 3STORIES, and we're a brand interior design agency specialising in hospitality. I think a sense of place means connection, really. I think a lot of this boils down to, when you're looking at a location like a hotel, connecting with the local area, the culture, and how that might essentially apply to a design is, I guess, creating a sense of belonging for the guest. Our concept is the pleasure garden at the Aggie. So fundamentally we've taken inspiration from the era in which it was built, the Victorian era, and taking reference from the Aggie, which was the traditional name of the hotel, the fond name that people gave it.
The inspiration we have drawn on is the history of the space, the Victorian details, the history of where it came from. And also we really like these, the old kind of Victorian sort of posters with the text all kind of written down in lines. It was almost reminded us of like kind of modern day gig posters where you go to a festival and you have all the bands listed down, and we kind of like, it played quite nicely with the idea about creating a space where you can have entertainment and you can kind of create these events within the space.
The way that we're designing the environment is it's based around entertainment. So the combination of F&B and entertainment. You've got a site that essentially always started as that, a place to come to be entertained. And so we want to thrive and use that as a jumping off point. So when it comes to F&B, we will probably have the traditional spaces like your restaurants and your bars, but they're merged within essentially the amphitheatre which we want to build in the centre of the hotel.
When the guests arrive at the Aggie, we want them to feel excited. I think there's always this idea of the invisible barrier at a hotel. We want people to feel like they can come into this space and be wowed and have an experience. Coming somewhere where there's an event and they can feel like there's something special happening and feel excited about that, I think is really exciting for us.
What's core to the brand is this live entertainment aspect that ties in with, I guess, this ability to come to a hotel that is constantly evolving. It's never the same. We want to make sure that every time the guest visits, there is that different experience.
The guest room at the Aggie for us, I think goes back to this idea of voyeurism a little bit. I think because of the nature of this building and how it's situated, we like the idea of these rooms looking down into something, but also being able to look up at it as well. I think it's a bit of a weird parallel, but when you're walking down through a red light district and you see these windows, the idea of looking in and seeing that, you can kind of control that, but I think there's something nice about looking up, looking down, looking within those spaces and having that connection, I think.
When it was originally built as an agricultural hall, very interesting, very practical, I guess, in its nature, that was a starting point, but I think we were drawn to more the theatrical aspects of when it was used, again, during the Victorian era, to create a space where you might have a concert hall or a music venue or something that was a little bit more based on entertainment. That's what we were drawn to.
Islington's such a vibrant, interesting place. I think creating something like the pleasure garden and that links to Islington, again, that kind of feels for us like it works really well. I think you've got such a vibrant, rich offer on that high street and within this area where you've got everything from bars, cinemas, music event spaces, everything. It could have local art galleries, it could have community events, it could have music events. And I think, again, just being part of that community rather than being something that's in competition with all that, I think could be interesting.
If it's a hotel, there'll constantly be something happening, like a hive of activity. So the key is to tie in with the local community, be part of it, not compete with it, but create something new for people to visit and enjoy as part of the Islington experience.